The car stops on a red dirt road, and everything goes quiet. It's dusk. There is no phone signal. There is no other car, no light, no fence, nothing but the ticking of a hot engine and a horizon turning purple in every direction. It looks like the emptiest place on Earth. It isn't. It's one of the most quietly crowded places in the country. And out here, the animals are the smallest part of the problem. That's the trick the Outback plays on everyone. It looks dead. It looks like there is nothing out there but red sand and spinifex grass and heat. And that emptiness is exactly what should worry you, because whatever survives in a place this harsh has been forged by drought and distance into something ruthlessly good at staying alive. And the nearest help can be hundreds of kilometres away. People picture the danger of Australia at the beach, in the reef, in the tropical north. But the interior has its own list, a quieter one. A list of things that people drive straight past, camp right beside, and never once know were there. And it punishes the one mistake the desert invites you to make: relaxing. There are no waves here to warn you, no obvious predators patrolling a shoreline, no signs bolted to posts, just heat, distance, and stillness. And that stillness lulls people into dropping their guard right up until the moment something moves. The Outback doesn't announce its dangers, it lets you find them. So this is a countdown. 15 animals that share the Australian Outback with anyone brave or foolish enough to cross it, ranked not by how many they kill, but by how completely they hide in a place that pretends to be empty. We start small. We end with the most venomous snake on the entire planet. Number 15 is already in your camp. You roll out a swag on the ground, or leave a boot outside the tent overnight, and in the morning, something is already living in it. The giant bull ant is one of the largest ants in the world, and one of the most aggressive. It doesn't scatter when disturbed. It turns, it grips with its jaws, and it drives in a sting that burns for hours. And in someone allergic, it can be far more serious than that. It's a small thing to open a list like this, but that's the point. Ask anyone who's spent a night out bush, and they'll tell you the same ritual. You never leave a boot on the ground. You shake out everything before you put it on. You check the swag before you climb in. That whole quiet grammar of survival exists because of animals exactly this small. In the Outback, the danger starts at ground level, in the sand under your bedroll, long before you ever meet anything with fangs. And the next one waits in the ground itself. Subscribe now. We're counting all the way down to the most venomous snake on Earth. Number 14 hides in a burrow by the homestead. Everyone knows the redback. Almost nobody watches for this one. In the dry, cracked ground near Outback homes and sheds lives the mouse spider. A stocky, heavy-bodied spider with large fangs and a potent venom that, in the worst cases, has been considered comparable to some of the most dangerous spiders in the country. Bites are rare, because it spends most of its life underground in a burrow capped with a trap door of silk and soil. But a male wandering after rain, looking for a mate, can turn up exactly where people walk. In the shed, across the yard, along the veranda at night. And unlike the redback, most people wouldn't recognize it as anything to fear until it was too late. Picture a kid crouched over a little hole in the dirt out the back of a station house, poking a stick in to see what's home. That's the everyday moment where this animal lives. Not deep wilderness, but the yard, the garden bed, the patch of cracked ground by the tank. It's the animal nobody warns the newcomer about, the one hiding in plain sight in a hole in the yard. And after the rain, the ground gives up something worse. Number 13 comes out when the desert floods. After a rare outback downpour, when the red dirt turns to mud and everything hidden is driven up to the surface, out comes the giant centipede. A long, flattened, fast-moving hunter with a venomous bite delivered through a pair of modified front legs. For an animal, its size, the pain it can inflict is extraordinary. A deep, throbbing fire that can last for hours. And it has an unsettling habit of sheltering in the warm, dark places people use. A boot, a rolled-up swag, a sleeping bag left on the ground. It moves in a fast, rippling blur, far quicker than anything that low to the ground has a right to be. And it can climb a tent wall or slip through the smallest gap without a sound. And this is where the Outback quietly rewrites your habits. The old hands don't put their boots on in the morning without banging them out upside down first, and they don't reach blindly into a rolled swag. They've all either felt this thing or watched someone else feel it, writhing on the ground far from any help. You don't go looking for it. It comes looking for shelter, and your camp is the best shelter for miles. And underneath the same rocks, something curls its tail. Number 12 is under the flat rock you just turned over. Reach down to move a stone, lift the edge of a ground sheet, or shake out a shoe in the morning, and you may find the inland scorpion waiting. Its sting won't usually kill a healthy adult, but it can turn a night into hours of burning pain and swelling. And out here, just wait it out, takes on a different weight when the nearest doctor is a day's drive away. Worse, it glows a faint, ghostly blue-green under UV light, which means the ones you can find with a torch are the ones you can avoid. And every one you can't see is somewhere in the dark around your camp, waiting for a bare foot on the way to the fire. A sting like that in the city is a bad afternoon and a trip to the chemist. The same sting 300 kilometres down a dirt track, with no signal and no shade, is something else entirely. Hours of pain with nothing to do but wait it out and hope it stays minor. That's the quiet theme of this whole place. It isn't only what the animal does, it's where you are when it does it. And the next one turns your own panic into the weapon. Number 11 lives in a hollow log and travels as a cloud. This is the one almost nobody expects to fear. Across the outback, in hollow trees, old water tanks, and rock crevices, feral honeybee colonies have spread far and wide. Disturb one, with a vehicle, a footstep, a bit of noise, and the swarm that follows can deliver hundreds of stings in minutes. For most people, that's a medical emergency. For anyone allergic, it can be deadly, and far from help, it can turn catastrophic fast. And the terrible part is how ordinary the trigger is. A rock thrown at a hollow log by a bored kid. A quad bike started up too close to a hidden hive. The wrong branch pulled off the wrong tree for firewood. Suddenly the air is full of them, and there is nowhere to run to and no water deep enough to hide in. We don't think of bees as outback predators. That's exactly why they belong on this list. The most ordinary animal imaginable becomes one of the most dangerous the moment you're hours from a hospital. And from here, the animals stop being small. Number 10 charges out of the scrub. Near a waterhole, in the thick scrub, a heavy shape you didn't see explodes toward you. The feral pig is one of the most widespread large animals in the outback, and a big boar is a slab of muscle armed with tusks, bad-tempered and unpredictable, known to charge when cornered or protecting young. On top of the physical danger, it carries diseases that can pass to people and livestock. So protecting a litter, or a boar startled at close range in thick cover, doesn't hesitate the way a wild animal usually does. It commits, low and fast, and the tusks do the rest. Picture walking a scrubby fence line at dusk, checking for a lost animal, and hearing something heavy crash out of the undergrowth toward you rather than away. There's no tree close enough, no ute door to slam. It shouldn't even be here. It's an introduced animal gone wild across the continent, and that's part of what makes it so dangerous. Nothing in this landscape evolved to keep it in check. And it isn't the only giant out here that was never meant to be. Number 9 is half a ton of muscle at the dam. At first light, a mob of wild horses drifts in to drink. Brumbies, the feral horses of the outback, are one of the most beautiful things you will ever see out here, and one of the easiest to underestimate. A frightened or protective horse can kick with bone-breaking force or trample a person who ends up between it and its foal, and a wild one has no reason at all to trust you. People walk up to them the way they'd walk up to a paddock pony, phone out, hand extended. And that's exactly when it goes wrong, because a wild mob has spent every day of its life learning that the only things that approach it mean harm. People forget that wild means exactly that. This is not a farm animal. It's half a ton of panic and muscle that wants you nowhere near it. And it isn't even the biggest surprise the desert is hiding. If the empty desert is starting to feel crowded, subscribe, because the top 5 bite. Number 8 is the animal no one believes lives here. Out among the dunes of the deep interior moves something that looks like it wandered off the wrong continent entirely: a camel. Australia's arid heart holds one of the largest populations of wild camels anywhere in the world. The feral descendants of animals brought in generations ago and released into the desert. A big camel is enormous, taller than a person at the shoulder and weighing more than most cars weigh empty. And a startled or aggressive one can knock a person down, crush, or trample with ease, especially in the heat of the breeding season. They travel in loose herds across country with no fences and no cover, and out on a remote road at night they become a second kind of danger entirely, a wall of muscle that a vehicle can hit before the driver ever sees it in the dark. And they are not gentle by default. Out on a remote track, a large bull in the breeding season can turn territorial and aggressive, and there is nothing about the flat, open country that will help you when an animal that size decides you're a problem. It's the moment the outback stops making sense, a desert full of camels in Australia. And it's a perfect example of the theme of this whole video. The danger out here is not what you'd ever expect. The next one, though, is exactly what nightmares are made of. Number 7 is a living dinosaur on the rocks. In the dry, rocky ranges of the interior lives the parenti, Australia's largest monitor lizard, a powerful reptile that can grow to a startling size with strong claws, a whipping tail, and sharp teeth. It would almost always rather flee, sprinting away on its hind legs at surprising speed, or standing tall on all fours to get a better look at what's coming. But a large, cornered parenti is a serious animal. Its bite can carry bacteria and, some research suggests, mild venom, and its claws are built for digging through hard-baked earth. Up close, it looks like something that should have gone extinct with the dinosaurs and moves like it has every intention of proving it didn't. Imagine sitting quietly by a rock outcrop at midday and watching what you took for a fallen branch lift its head, flick a long forked tongue, and walk. Corner one by accident, back it against the rocks with nowhere to run, and those claws and that whipping tail stop being a curiosity very quickly. Most people have no idea a lizard this size roams the Australian interior at all. It hunts, it climbs, it stands its ground when it has to. And from here down, the countdown belongs to the animals that made the outback famous. Number 6 watches your camp from the dark. The dingo is the outback's wild dog, and it is far smarter than people give it credit for. It's an intelligent, adaptable hunter that often travels in pairs or small packs, and its behavior changes the moment people start leaving food around. A wild dingo keeping its distance is one thing. A bold, habituated one, testing a campsite at night, sizing up what's easy, is another entirely. They read a camp the way a thief reads a house. Who's asleep? What's left out? Which child has wandered furthest from the fire? And they are endlessly patient about it. Picture a family camped near a popular waterhole, scraps left by the fire, kids running loose at dusk, and a pair of dingoes sitting just outside the firelight, patient, working out the angles. That is the exact situation that turns a shy wild dog into a genuine threat. It's a reminder that in the outback, feeding an animal is how you make it dangerous. The problem is rarely the dingo that fears you. It's the one that has stopped. And the next animal doesn't sneak at all. Number 5 stands taller than a man at dusk. In the paddocks and open country at last light, you see them upright against the sky. Red kangaroos, the largest marsupials on Earth. For the most part, they want nothing to do with people. But a big male, cornered, threatened, or made bold by handouts near towns, is a genuinely dangerous animal. It can balance on its thick tail and kick out with both powerful hind legs, and those legs carry claws that can cause terrible injuries while it grapples with its forearms. The danger climbs wherever people feed them, near campgrounds and town edges, where a big male loses its fear and starts to see a person as competition rather than a threat to flee. Get too close for a photo, corner one against a fence, and it can grab hold and rake downward with those hind claws. The gentle icon on the tourist postcard is not the animal you meet in a bad encounter. Cornered, it fights like something twice its size. And from here, everything left on this list has venom. Number 4 doesn't move at all. Almost every snake flees the moment it feels you coming. The desert death adder does the opposite. It works itself down into the sand or the spinifex until it all but vanishes, and it waits. Sometimes for days, with a strike among the fastest ever recorded in any snake. Its venom acts on the nervous system, and out here, hours from antivenom, time is the thing you don't have, and it uses a lure to do it. A soft twitch of the tip of its tail, like a grub wriggling in the dirt, drawing prey in close before it strikes. Think about that on the walk back to the car across open ground, at dusk, when everything is the same shade of red-gray. The threat isn't a snake racing away in front of you. It's the patch of sand you're about to step on that hasn't moved in a week. And it isn't even the snake with the most venom out here. Number 3 hangs on and doesn't let go. In the woodpile, the dry creek bed, and the old sheds of the interior lives the mulga snake, better known as the king brown. Although, confusingly, it isn't a true brown snake at all. What makes it so feared is volume. It's thought to deliver one of the largest loads of venom of any Australian snake, and rather than a quick strike and release, it can bite down and chew to drive as much venom in as possible. And it holds its ground more than most, which is the last thing you want from a snake carrying that much venom. Reach into a woodpile for the next log, step over a fallen sheet of tin, and you're in its space before either of you knew it. It's big, it's widespread, and it's found exactly where people work and store things out here. One clean identifier, one enormous dose. And the next one is faster and closer to home. Number 2 is already in the yard. Fast, nervous, and widespread across the dry country is the western brown snake, known across much of its range as the guardar. It's slender and quick, easily startled, and it lives right up against the places people live and work in the interior. The station yard, the track, the shed, the grassy edge of the homestead. It is among the snakes most responsible for serious bites to people out here, precisely because its world and ours overlap so completely. This is the whole story of the interior in one animal. It thrives on us, because everywhere people store grain and feed and rubbish, there are mice, and where there are mice, there is this snake, fast and thin and gone before you register it. It doesn't want you. It wants the mice around your buildings. But get between it and an escape route and you've closed a gap that shouldn't exist. And still, it is not the most venomous thing out in that red country. Number 1 has been out there the whole time, and almost no one has ever seen it. In the remote channel country of the far interior, in some of the most isolated land on the continent, lives the inland taipan, widely regarded as the single most venomous snake in the world by measured venom toxicity. The amount of venom in one bite is almost difficult to comprehend. Drop by drop, nothing else on land comes close. A single bite is measured against the survival of not one person but many. On paper, it is the deadliest snake on Earth. A single bite is thought to carry enough venom to be almost impossible to imagine surviving without fast, modern medical care. And out in that country, fast medical care does not exist. And here is the twist that earns it the top of this list. You will almost certainly never see one. It is shy, reclusive, and it lives so far from anyone that recorded bites are extremely rare, most of them to people who deliberately handle snakes. It doesn't patrol, it doesn't hunt people, it doesn't need to. It simply exists, out there in the cracked channel country, carrying the deadliest venom of any snake on the planet, in a place almost no one ever goes. The most venomous snake in the world spends its life in a place so empty that its greatest defense is simply distance. It was out there the whole time. It just never needed to meet you. And that brings us back to the driver, broken down on the red dirt road at dusk, in the silence, staring at a horizon with nothing on it in any direction. Because the real danger of the Outback was never how much lives out there. It's the illusion of the emptiness itself. A place that looks dead and is quietly full. A place where the animals have been perfected by the harshest conditions on the continent, and where the one thing you can't see for hundreds of kilometres in any direction is help. Think about everything on this list for a moment. The ant in the swag, the spider in the yard, the bees in the log, the pig in the scrub, the camel on the dune, the mob of horses at the dam, the giant lizard on the rocks, the dingoes at the firelight, the kangaroo at dusk. And then the snakes, the adder that won't move, the king brown that won't let go, the guardar in the yard, and finally the most venomous serpent on the planet, coiled somewhere out in country almost no one will ever walk. None of it looks like anything. All of it is out there right now. That's why the people who know this country treat it with something close to reverence. They carry water. They shake out their boots. They tell someone where they're going and when they'll be back. They never walk in the dark without a light. They respect every snake, and they never, ever assume that empty means safe. The Outback doesn't chase anyone. It doesn't need to. It just waits, patiently, in all that silence, for one careless step. So the real danger of the outback was never how much lives out there. It's how far you are from help when you finally meet it. Next, we leave the red centre behind and head for the coast of Western Australia, where the danger comes from the sea. Subscribe and come with us.